Mark my words. Mark my words.
Yeah. You know what time it is. Welcome to a new episode of Mark My Words with me, your host, Mark Gunnels, live from the Good News Sports Station in sunny, and I do mean sunny, Los Angeles, California. Thank you guys for listening right now live on the Good News Radio app, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, especially radio.co, the Good News app, for sure. Hope you guys are doing well. It's another beautiful Friday right now. I'm recording live in the Good News Station. Sorry, I'm so excited. I can't even get my words out correctly. Thursday night football last night. Chargers, Chiefs in Arrowhead in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm just the kid from Kansas City. And yes, unless you've been living under a rock, you may have missed who won the game. But by my energy, you probably can assume who won the game. And yes, it was the Kansas City Chiefs. The same team that's been running this division, I'm talking about the AFC West, for the last 6 years. For the last 6 years. And, you know, before I get too into it, because I'm fired up. I'm fired up, man. Tired of these false narratives. Tired of these made up hypothetical what if stats. It's crazy, man. It's really crazy. It's nasty. It's nasty work. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. The Los Angeles Chargers are for real. Now, I know people like to make jokes about Herbert and Brandon Staley, and why does Herbert get so much praise for a quarterback that hasn't even made the playoffs yet? Yada, yada, yada. I hear it all. The same arguments. Staley, his decision-making, and that was still questionable last night, but in a different way, which is ironic. But I'm going to get into that. But I say all that to say this. That defense is scary. I mean, from a talent perspective, it's the most talented defense in the NFL. It's no argument. They have star-level players at each level. The D-line, you got Mac, Bosa, linebacking room, Kyle Van Noy, who made some plays last night, was getting pressure, did pretty well in coverage. And then obviously the secondary led by Derwin James. Then you got J.C. Jackson, Asante Samuel Jr. They have guys. They have a lot of guys, man. They really do. I think their run defense is improved. Now, Clyde Edwards-Helaire did break off a couple of big ones. Obviously, that one in the fourth where he was holding the ball with his dear life. He made sure he wasn't going to fumble that ball. He made sure this was not going to be a Baltimore situation from last year all over again. So, if you're a Chargers fan, obviously there's no moral victories, especially in this brutal AFC conference and AFC West to be specific. But they definitely showed a lot of positives. And then offensively, I mean, Herbert is a machine. The way he can go through his reads so quickly is unprecedented, especially for a guy only in his third year. He's big. He's big as a statue, strong as a tight end. The guy's built, man. He has a cannon of an arm. He can make pretty much all the throws. He can make all the throws on script for sure. He was just slicing and dicing. The Chiefs were playing soft coverage, trying to fill him out, bend but don't break. But obviously, Herbert made the biggest mistake of the night. And I think he played a really good game. Like, I would have gave him an A if it wasn't for that pick six at the goal line. They punch it in there, and if they go on to win, I would say Herbert had an A game. But that pick six obviously leaves a very, very dark eye on his performance, black eye, if you would. And in the first half, he did miss a few throws that were uncharacteristic. A couple of throws behind guys, a little high here and there. But for the most part, I think he played a really good game. He's definitely one of those guys. He's him. But their offense is so elementary as far as their route concepts. But they don't have any speed. They really don't have speed. And that's the thing that I thought the Chargers would try to address this past offseason. I mean, they were just throwing jump balls to Mike Williams at a certain point, just picking on the smaller corner. Like, hey, just go down there. I'll throw it up, post them up, moss them, right? But they don't have that big yak guy, a guy that can take a crosser and get 20 plus yards in yak, right? Or a wide receiver screen, or even just like being more creative, like in the run game as well, like jet sweeps and things of that nature. And speaking of the run game, I got to say, Austin Eckler is a beast, man. He never goes down on first contact. It's really amazing, honestly. He bounces off guys like I don't even know, like he's Shaq or something. Like, they just bounce off him. It is really crazy. But yeah, top to bottom, the Chargers have a loaded roster. The only thing that's going to get in their way, the only thing that can get in their way is injuries and poor decision making from coaching to Justin Herbert. And speaking of injuries, obviously Herbert hurt his ribs late in the game. They're still doing x-rays and tests on him, but so far things seem to be heading in the right direction. I noticed x-rays last night tested negative, which is a good thing. And then obviously you have a little extra time because you don't play until next Sunday. So you got about 10 days. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, their next two games are against the Jags and Texans. So I don't really think they need him to win those games, but if he's good to go, obviously he gives you the best chance. Now to Brandon Staley. Last year, he built the reputation on being ultra aggressive on fourth down. That was his thing. It won them some games. It lost them some games. Right? And I had the belief heading into this year that he wouldn't have to do that as much because his defense is so much more improved. Right? So you can punt it or take three, and you trust your defense to give your offense the ball right back. Last year, he didn't have that luxury. They were dead last against the run. Teams were just literally pounding the ball down their throats. And obviously, time of possession. And that means Justin Herbert is on the sideline watching. Right. So I understood the aggressive nature. Now, sometimes it was a little ridiculous, like going for it on your own 18-yard line. Like, that's crazy. But I say all that to say this. Last night, there was at least 3 spots where I think Brandon Staley should have gone for it. Even though you do trust your defense. Because if you don't get it, and the Chiefs get it at near midfield, do you not trust your defense to hold them to 3? I mean, you know? So that was kind of mind-boggling. And as a Chiefs fan, in those situations where he did elect to punt, I had a major sigh of relief. A major sigh of relief. So I think he let the Chiefs off the hook a little bit. I think in those spots he should have been more aggressive. Now, like I said, it's all about the time in the game, the score, field position, momentum, all that stuff. All that stuff factors in here, right? And the Chargers really didn't have much of that at those points. But you could have snatched it away. You go for it on 4th down, 4th and short, 4th and 3, 4th and 2, and you get it and you end up scoring that drive. That sends a message. And we all know field goals will not beat this Chiefs offense. It just won't. You have to be aggressive. And that's how they are ironically won their game last year in Arrowhead. He was ultra aggressive. They even went for it like on a 4th and 12, which ended up being a pass interference, which was very questionable call, and it led the Chargers to win the game. So, yeah, man, I just think you don't want to overthink it too much. And I feel like Brandon Staley was doing that at a certain point. Now, let me get to this. Why can't people just accept greatness? Why is this so hard? And I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes. So over the past, how many hours has it been now? 15, 16 hours since the game ended? All I've heard was, look at all the turnover-worthy plays Patrick Mahomes had. Look at the dropped interceptions. He could have easily had 3 or 4 picks. And you know what? You're right. You're right. But tell me, any time in NFL history before Patrick Mahomes came into the scene where there was this much dialogue about turnover-worthy plays. Cornerbacks are cornerbacks for a reason. They were wide receiver wannabes, but their hands wasn't good enough, but they still had other skills and traits. That's why they are defensive backs, people. Most of them can't catch the ball. So it is what it is. But I just love the Mahomes narrative now. I love it. He has one. I'm not even going to call it a bad game because they won and he did make key plays. For his standards, an average game. This is about an average game for Mahomes. About a C plus. That's about what I'd give it. Obviously, he got tricked a couple times. Like I said, some of them picks should have been picks, but they weren't. They weren't. That's all that matters. The only person that threw a real pick yesterday was Justin Herbert, and it happened to be the game-changing point in the game. The pick 6 to the Chiefs' 7th round rookie, Jalen Watson. Remember the name. I think the guy has a chance to be really good in this league. Obviously, Trent McDuffie is hurt, so he was forced to step in. And did he ever? I mean, boy, did he ever. Thought he played really, really good football. They were picking on him, but he sticked with it, and he made the play of the game. The play of his life so far. Has to be. All right, let's move on. Let me preview a couple of these games on week 2. A few of these games that I'm intrigued by. Let me see. So, this first one, man, I'm really giddy for this one. Dolphins Ravens. I'm really curious to see how the Dolphins offense looks against the Ravens defense, and particularly the secondary versus the Dolphins pass catchers. Obviously, it starts and ends with Tyreek Hill. Got Jalen Waddle, Kaseki at tight end, Cedric Wilson. So they have weapons. The question is, can Tua give them the ball? Can he consistently give them the ball? And can they get a couple of shots down the field? Because they're going to need it. Because I'm telling you right now, Lamar Jackson's coming for blood. You see how the Dolphins did him last year? That cover 0, and they had no answer for it. Now, I don't expect to see that defense this weekend, but that still definitely has to be in the back of Lamar's mind. It's obviously a team from the same state where he's from, Miami, Florida. So I'm sure he's going to have a lot of fans in the crowd, not only Ravens fans, but fans from his days in Florida, growing up, Clemson. It's not too far away. So, yeah, we'll see. But I really, really think, and and I meant to say, I said Clemson. Did I say Clemson? I meant to say Louisville, Lamar Jackson, Louisville. So to me, the coaching matchup is interesting here too. Mike McDaniel versus Harbaugh. You know, you got an old school minded head coach, um, likes to grind things out. And then you got Mike McDaniel, who's the innovative, young, fresh, analytical mind, you know, the mad scientist offensively and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be a cool chess match, man. I'm looking forward to that. I'm actually smiling as I talk about it because you know what? I'm exhausted as a Chiefs fan. The first 2 games of the year happened in 5 days. Sunday, then you got the Thursday game. So I'm excited to actually have a Sunday where there's no Chiefs football and I can just sit back, relax, watch all the games, and watch all the other fan bases stress out this Sunday. While I have no dog in the fight now, I'm sure I'm gonna put together a parlay or something. But you know, as far as my team plan, I can just kind of relax. So I'm kind of looking forward to that, man. I really am. I'm not gonna lie to you. Another game I'm intrigued by. Obviously Bucks and the Saints. Tom Brady hasn't beaten the Saints to my knowledge. I don't think he has in the regular season. Now he did beat them in the playoffs a couple years ago and sent Drew Brees into retirement and then played catch with his kids after the game. But that's besides the point. Bucks Saints. The Bucks got a lot of injuries heading to this game. Chris Godwin is ruled out. He probably shouldn't have played week 1. They got a lot of guys questionable. I know like Mike Evans. Mike Evans is questionable. And who else? Sorry, let me look it up real quick. I got a very lengthy report. Oh, yeah. Their left tackle, Donovan Smith, is doubtful. And then you got Julio Jones, Russell Gage, Tristan Wirfs, and Leonard Fournette are all questionable. That's a lot. That's a lot. So with that being said, I got to go with the Saints. I think the trend continues. I think they just have Brady's number. Their defensive line is ferocious, and then you're potentially where you're going to miss your left tackle, most likely he's doubtful. And then Tristan Wirfs, your right tackle, who's your best lineman, is questionable. So, I mean, even if he goes, how healthy will he be? So I expect the Saints, especially in the Dome, their home opener, they're 1-0 with that miraculous comeback in Atlanta last week. I think they come in this game fired up. I think Jameis makes enough plays. He has the wide receiver weapons. And let's see how good that Bucks secondary really is because they played the Cowboys last week, but we know the Cowboys are banged up at receiver and they don't have Amari Cooper anymore. And so let's see what they do against Jarvis Landry. Michael Thomas seems to be back. And even Chris Olave, the rookie, he made some plays last week. So let's see how they do. Obviously, Kamara is a threat in the passing game as well. But the Bucks do have a really good D line, so it's going to be interesting to see which team can dominate the trenches more in that matchup. Another matchup I like that I think could be potential upset alert is the Cardinals and Raiders. Right now, the Raiders are 5.5-point favorites. I think that's a lot for the Raiders right now. I know they played the Chargers last week and they had chances to win that game late, but it shouldn't have been that close. The Cardinals, I don't think they're as bad as they showed against the Chiefs on week one. I think that embarrassment um, and the focus they had throughout the week could lead them to potentially winning this game. The Rams don't, unto the Rams, the Raiders secondary may be the worst in football. And I know the Cardinals are limited at receiver right now, but I still think Kyler Murray can make some plays down the field, not only throwing but with his legs. So we'll see, man. Like I said, the Raiders should win this game though. Like I'm not predicting the upset. I'm just saying it's probably gonna be closer than people think. Cause I get the sense people think this is gonna be a blowout, and I can't subscribe to that right now. I can't, but we'll see. We'll see. And then what else we got here? The Monday night games. We got a Monday night doubleheader this week, which is kind of weird. Titans and Bills and Vikings Eagles. So I think the Titans Bills game, the Bills are favored by 10. I think they probably covered the 10. I think this game's going to be a blowout. If you guys have heard before the year, I was not high on the Titans at all. I said this team will miss the playoffs. They felt like 7-10 to me, maybe 8-9 ish. They just don't have the juice, man. You lost AJ Brown, who went off week one for the Eagles. I'm not sold on Derrick Henry being completely Derrick Henry after that injury. And obviously they had a big loss to their defense too, man. So and that was after I said what I said about the Colts. I mean the Titans this year. So, that just adds on to me not liking them at all this season. And I think the Bills, they have a message to send all season. I think they're on a mission after the 13 seconds they've heard all summer. So I think the Bills at home, Monday Night Football, I think they demolished the Titans. I think it's going to be ugly. I really do. But what I don't think is going to be ugly is this next game, and that is the Eagles and Vikings. I'm torn on this game. I'm really torn. I'm not going to lie to you. 'Cause I think the Vikings are slightly better just because I trust their quarterback more and the system with Kevin O'Connell, scheming guys wide open. I think that's pretty cool. And with the Eagles, I think top to bottom, their roster is better than Minnesota, but there's still somewhat of a question mark on Jalen Hurts and his throwing ability. We know he can run the ball, like pretty much none other except Lamar, right? And other guys, but that's pretty much it. But when it comes down to it, you're gonna have to make that throw. And can he? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We just got to see it. We just got to see it. It's gonna be in Philly Monday night. It's gonna be rocking. We know how Kirk Cousins does in primetime games. Not too well to say the least. Man, it's a tough one. This is so tough. It's such a tough game, man. I think I'm gonna lean Vikings, man. I really do. I'm really bullish on Kevin O'Connell. I really am. And that scheme from the Rams, I think is just gonna do wonders for a guy like Justin Jefferson, who already is off to a historical start to his career. So I think it's only going to get worse. But let me know what you guys think. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mark A. Gunnels. That's where I put out all my content, my links, my articles, podcast links, you name it, man. You name it. I think I'm a pretty good follow, so make sure you guys do that. Mark A. Gunnels, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get your podcast or your entertainment at. I'll be there. Next week, Chiefs Colts in Indy. Got 10 days to rest. See how that will go. Sorry about that. You know what time it is when you hear that. Make sure you guys have a good weekend. Be safe. And enjoy some football this Sunday and Saturday. College football tomorrow. With that being said, I'm out.